Welcome to the Tiger's Den. I am Toothless Tiger, and this is the voice of Cheryl. I'd like to welcome you to Let's Give Him Something to Talk About Tuesdays. This is part two of an excellent series we started last month, and that is the fentanyl crisis that is affecting the neighborhoods throughout the United States. The crisis started as we knew it here in Dallas, Texas, in the southern sector of Dallas. But as the research went further, we discovered it's not just Dallas, Texas, the southern sector. It's hoods throughout America. We call them hoods because there was a time that we called our communities communities, and we lived amongst each other as families. We lived amongst each other's where we had grocery stores, is what we call them. Some people call them corner stores, family stores, wash houses, washaterias, laundromats, gas stations. We've had all type of businesses at one point in time. I want to say salute to everyone that is here. Salute Sean, Wilma Flagstaff, salute. Maria S times 3, salute. Lazy Bone, salute. L All Smiles, salute. We have an advocate in our community, and we have advocates all over communities. Miss Dwawn B is joining us as an advocate for recovery. She told her story, and we were intrigued. And we invited her back because we wanted to know more. We need to know more about this drug that is killing us in numbers. I ask you to bear with me as my voice may crackle and go in and out. I've been under the weather. I'm feeling better, but I'm not at 100%. But if you would bear with us, we're going to put on the most informative hour that we can to help you better understand what's going on, what it looks like, and how we can try to combat it. As you all know, that we are not doctors. Dwawn does not advocate to be a doctor. She does not profess to have all the answers. She's just lived a life that has been very, I guess you could say, colorful, to say the least. She's been on both sides of the fence. The side where you grow up as a kid hoping to be a doctor or a nurse or whatever your heart's desire. And then she was met with life where you end up in places that you never thought you'd be, Skid Row or the penitentiary, place that you wouldn't imagine for yourself as a young lady or a man. And she's not ashamed or afraid to share her story. One of the things that I've learned as a family member of alcoholics and drug addicts and working a program of recovery for codependency myself, you come to know that a lot of the things we do it based on decisions that we make. We may, blame others, but ultimately we have to come to the conclusion that our lives are unmanageable and that something can restore us to sanity. And we must give ourselves to that something in order for that to happen. And then there are some steps we need to take to ensure that we can be better human beings. And M.J. Gibbons, salute, glad you're here. So I'm going to get ready to bring Dwawn B back, and she's going to be sharing with us. And if you have a question, please don't hesitate. Please feel free to ask a question. We may not have all the answers, but we can just do what we can. One of the things that we learn in any program of recovery is that you can only keep what you have by giving it away. And freely you give, and freely you receive. And as you share your life experience, hopes, and dreams with others, then you give them a ray of hope, dreams. Sometimes we don't get too many people that want to hear these type subjects, but we need to have the discussion, and we need to make it priority because we have babies that are coming up, and we say that they are our future, and we want to ensure that we do have them for the future. And if we don't discuss the hidden things that can stop your growth, then we may not have a future. So, with that being said, I'm going to bring up for you recovery advocate Miss Dwawn B, and she is off camera. This is an anonymous program, and she chooses to remain anonymous, and we respect her autonomy and her anonymity. Jerome Biggins, hello, my nephew. Salute. Dwawn, how are you today?
And thank you for having me back. You have explained to people that I am an advocate, and I'm going to tell you that I am in recovery. I celebrated 20 years in April, and I am here to share my experience, strength, and hope. I want to say up front, I am not a doctor, but I will give you the information as I have it. What my plight and fight is today is to get out the information on fentanyl. And because it is affecting the southern sector of Dallas and a lot of the sectors, I don't want to say poverty or ghetto areas, but that's who's falling right now. Um, that's about it. Uh, as I explain my story about fentanyl.
Okay, fantastic. So you can take it away. Start where you like.
Okay, I want to explain to everybody what fentanyl is. It's an opioid. It is used to treat severe pain. But right now, on the street, our people, all people, are getting fentanyl that is cut. Drugs like even marijuana is even being cut now with fentanyl. Marijuana, cocaine, PCP, methamphetamine, um, heroin, all of those drugs are being affected right now and being cut with fentanyl. I do work in a treatment facility. When the clients come in, we ask them, tell us about your drug history. They usually say, well, yeah, I smoke marijuana, I've had alcohol, I had cocaine, I had crack, methamphetamines, heroin, opioid, and as of like hydrocodone, oxycontin, and we do a test to see what they have had in their system. They're coming up positive with fentanyl. and they'll say, I never ever used fentanyl in my life, but the drugs that they are using has been laced. And Cheryl, you said something a little bit, also earlier about it is affecting the younger generation. Yes, it is. We're getting young people between 19 and 25 right now that are all testing positive with fentanyl.
Can
And
I
so
stop
that,
you right there
yes,
and ask you a
ma'am.
question?
Uh-huh.
Because you made a statement, and for us that is not familiar with the drug world, you said that it's being cut. What does
Uh-huh.
that mean? Can you tell us what that means from a street perspective or whatever perspective? When you said that you named the different drugs and they're being cut with the
Okay.
fentanyl, what does being cut mean?
Being cut means being laced. They are mixing the drug with a synthetic laced fentanyl.
Okay.
hmm Um, I in my study this week, I spoke with one of my doctors,
Uh huh.
and I asked him because he does work the emergency room, and they are seeing astronomical rises in fentanyl death.
Okay.
Um, the rising is almost like 200%. And one of the things that I want everybody to know, it takes very little to kill you. And it's 2 millimeters, and that would be the size of the tip of an ink pen. um, I asked my doctor, where did this come from? He said it was started in a lab in China, and right now it is being filtered through New Mexico or Mexico. Um, I asked him, what is the difference with illicit fentanyl and the synthetic fentanyl? He says there is no difference. He said the only difference is the synthetic. It's not regulated. Nobody is studying it. It's just coming through as a drug. It's I want to say unregulated. Um, like I said, there is no difference. I we were talking about the number, but like I said, it had risen about 200%. And I want you to know what fentanyl affects. It affects the respiratory system. So we're having people, we're seeing high numbers of people who are using it. They are coming up with COPD, and emphysema.
Mm.
Fentanyl attacks again the respiratory system, and when mixed with another drug, that is where it becomes deadly. Let's see here.
So you said that when you mix the fentanyl with another type drug, that's when it becomes deadly.
Yes. hmm Um, he also talked about that was very interesting. He was a veteran in World War II. In one
Okay.
year, huh? In
I
one
just said
year,
okay.
okay. In one year, it had killed 50,000 in the war. 50,000 people came up dead. Well, from March of last year to March of this year, they have had 100,000 overdoses and deaths with fentanyl, and that's a lot of people in one year.
100,000 deaths and overdoses, you said?
That's correct.
I'm looking at MJ Gibbons here, and MJ says that they're dropping like crazy in Florida. That's where MJ is.
Okay.
And then MJ has some knowledge too, because she said opiates in general affects the respiratory system.
Mhm. That is
So
correct.
that's good.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
Salute,
And
Pete
sure.
Day.
Uh-huh.
I was just speaking. Go ahead.
Okay. And Cheryl, I wanted to know why at one time we were seeing crack really, really slow down, but now it's coming back 100%. And crack is a drug that's an upper. It's like speed, but this opioid slows them totally down. Um, they are. It's more like a sedative. It causes relaxation. Of
Hmm.
course, it causes agitation, and you will wonder you're not getting the same effect, but it is so highly addictive. That's why it's inclusive in all drugs now.
Okay, it kind of went out. You said something, and it kind of went out. What did you
I'm
say?
sorry.
I missed what you just said because it went out.
Like I had said that crack it was really calming down and slowing down,
Uh huh.
but now they're putting the fentanyl on crack. Crack
Okay.
is a upper, and people speed with crack, but that's not happening now. With the fentanyl, it's slowing them completely down.
Mm.
The I want to say the effects of fentanyl are sedation, relaxation, it suppress your breathing. Um, it also is a downer. So when you
Those-
see people now, they're not speeding anymore. It
Mm.
also causes a lot of agitation. So, that's what I was wondering. Why would somebody who wants the upper uh, take a downer?
But they don't know that it's being cut with
They,
that. Is that
they have
correct?
no idea that it's being cut. They have no
Okay.
idea. Uh, but it is more addicting. Uh, it is definitely more addicting than anything else. It's more potent than heroin and morphine.
Mm. I've just seen Lazy Bones said that in San Francisco, where he's from, um, people are dying. So, just look at the different sections of the United States that we've been talking about here. We've here in Texas, and we've gone down to Florida. Now we're up in the West Coast in San Francisco, and everybody is telling the same story, but it is amazing how it's not reaching the masses, it appears. It hasn't appeared to be a crisis. When they came out with the opiate crisis, and I noticed one of the things about that crisis, it was in an area when they started speaking on it in states where the predominance of individuals were of one hue, and they did not look like us. And then they said that it was really an epidemic and we needed help, and they started
Mhm.
allocating money to help with the opiate crisis, supposedly. But it is amazing with the other areas of life, like, the areas that we're speaking of here, the different cities, when crack cocaine became an issue, it became a war on drugs, which actually it appeared to be a war on the people because, they didn't use uh, grants to help get people help, to put them in rehab or offer them rehab. They offered us penitentiary time. And with the
Mhm.
opiate, it seems like they're offering all kind of monies, but we don't know who's benefiting from the monies or who's benefiting from even getting their lives saved. With everybody here, Z, she's blessed and salute. Sim said so, salute. Glad to see you guys. And the different ones telling us how people are dropping dead in droves. Isn't it strange, do you think, that we don't hear about this, throughout the sounding the alarm throughout the communities all over?
Well,
Dwawn, what do you think?
Cheryl, I mentioned last time that I spoke with you that the, Greg Abbott is our governor, and how he addressed it was, let's build more prisons, let's get more police officers out there. Um, but that's not going to stop it. And this truth, the only answer is recovery. I'm going to say, uh, what happens when you put more police officers out there? I mentioned to you about a friend of mine that was missing for 8 weeks, and they did a missing person on him, and the case was opened up at 11 o'clock a.m. and it was closed at 1 o'clock p.m. Once they find you out that you're a drug addict, they just don't care. It's going to take the people to go um, to the legislator and say, hey, we have a problem. We have to do something. You have to look at it in a different way, because prisons is not going to help, and more police officers is not going to help. And getting it into this country is so easy by filtering it through Mexico. Somebody asked me, they said, well, Juan, what can we do? And my only thing, Cheryl, is to say, um, I told you to get equipped with Norcam just in case you saw somebody having an overdose and they were fainting and they were couldn't respond to you, is to get Norcam. Well, I read the CDC information. It says call your local pharmacy. I called the local pharmacy today to see if you could get free kits, and they said it would cost $150. And I was like, no. They said, well, call your county hospital. I called the county hospital. They said there's no free Norcam available. My next thing was to get in touch with the CDC since they're the ones that printed it. But as of right now, you cannot find any Narcan that we can get freely. Um, Cheryl, I'll tell you, I did my story for you last week.
Hey,
Uh,
baby girl.
I was I was doing drugs, doing the crack, freebase era. And Cheryl, back then, it was they were lacing our drugs with rat poison and gasoline.
Mm,
That did not stop me from doing drugs. I had to be sick and tired of being sick and tired of my lifestyle.
mm-hmm.
And that's when I decided to give myself some help. But the thing about it, if if you tell someone, that it is being laced. They might listen to you, but we have to find another way of getting the information out to them because, like I said, most of them don't even know that they're taking it.
Yeah, that's what's so sad about it is that you don't know. And what I found, it sounds like, from what I've seen in my experience of the different individuals that I've encountered, well, one of the reasons I think that maybe we still um, are producing addicts to this date is a lot of people tend to want to believe that whatever happened to someone else will not happen to me. You know,
Exactly.
ultimately, from what I've learned in my experiences and talking with different people with addiction problems, ultimately they got involved because they wanted to change the way they felt. Something was
Exactly.
lacking, or you know, well, let's just say, something, somebody come to you and say that this feels good, and everybody want to feel good. So, even though it may not be anything wrong with you, but if somebody tell you they can make you feel better than what you feel right now, and there's nothing wrong with you, you'll say, oh, okay, let me try it. And then, of course, nobody knows when they cross the imaginary line that takes them to that place that may be the point of no return because of their chemical, makeup, and the makeup of the chemicals that they're, interacting with. But it's just, I think that a lot of the problems with people is that they feel that it won't happen to me. They can see, I don't know, you may have been that woman, I don't know, but the woman that at one time she was beautiful, and then she started withering away, and then her hair started coming out, and then her teeth started coming up missing, and she was losing so much weight. She lost muscle mass in her breast. It's just
Hmm.
like she just looked like a man, a zombie, or a stick. But in her mind, she's in that mirror looking like, the most beautiful girl in the world. And everybody can see that she has gone totally to waste, but she sees herself as who she, was when she started out. And she'll tell you that it, she's not as bad as so and so, but all the time she's worse than so and so, but she doesn't see it. Did you ever have any of those moments, or did you ever encounter people like that? And perhaps that could be some of the problem that people can't see, that it does affect them like it does everybody else because they seem to think that it does not.
Yes, I'll share on that, Cheryl. At first, when I started, all of us, let's talk about the gateway drug. I tell people all the time, people think that marijuana was a gateway drug. Marijuana was not the gateway drug. The first thing that most of us have done is take a drink. At first, it was fun, and it kind of made your problems go away. And then, we smoked weed, and it was fun. But then came along cocaine. Cocaine gives you serenity at first, then eventually it takes your serenity away.
Okay.
I remember back in my time, and the younger audience might not remember who Richard Pryor was. And Richard Pryor, we watched his story. And as I was beginning to freebase and listening to the stuff that he did, I would always say I never would do anything like what he is doing. I will never be as bad as him. One of my one part of my story, and it's funny because I can look back on it. When I was in a dope house one time, Cheryl, I saw a man crawling around on the floor. trying to get the cocaine as it popped out of the pipe. And I was thinking to myself, how disgusting. How could he? And I even told the man, I said, sir, I have money. I have dope right here on this table. Please get off the floor, sir. And he kept following. And I said, I would never do anything like that. But Cheryl, in the end, I did more carpet patrol than anybody. I was the woman crawling on the floor trying to find the dope that jumped off the pipe. Now,
Mm.
I want to tell you, I am a alcoholic slash addict. Cheryl, in the beginning, I wasn't an alcoholic, but you're right. We have these issues that we're trying to cover up: hurt,
Mm.
pain, rape, uh, abuse, uh, abuse from parents, very dysfunctional family.
Mm.
And so I learned that drinking would cover it up. But sure, after I came down and there was nothing else to drink, my problems were right there. So, what do? You either get yourself some help or you stay drunk or you stay high. And like I said, I was tired of living that way. I had lost everything, Cheryl. Everything. Cars, houses, cars, houses, places to stay, job. Anytime I drank or did drugs, I lost my job the first day. And it never did last for me. Um, Peace of mind, serenity, all material possessions was gone. So once all of that's gone, what's the next thing you're gonna do? You're gonna start stealing. You're gonna start hoeing. You're gonna do whatever it is to keep that process going of buying drugs and alcohol. And you after that you want to cover that shit up too. So then you got to stop. You got to stop and say, this, I, I can't keep living like this. Cheryl, and as I told you my story last week, that I went to Catholic schools, I went to college, and when I was a kid, I never did say I want to be an addict or an alcoholic.
Mm.
My parents wanted me to be a lawyer, but I traded it all in for a drug career. I ended up, you got those three choices: jails, institutions, and death. I did the institutions because I went to the same uh, treatment center three times. Um, I wanted, when I was doing the drugs, I started writing checks and ended up in the penitentiary. Everybody say penitentiary, yes, penitentiary. And my penitentiary time was not long. It was only 9 months. But to me, that was 90 years because I wasn't used to anything like that.
Mm.
And I got real close to death by bullshitting and getting the drug dealers money. I'm sorry, drugs. And if you didn't have their money, $10 could get your ass killed.
Mm.
So I got closer, and I have to tell people I have OD'd on crack. I had done so much that there was nothing left but a little oxygen and a little blood. So and I had a kid. I wanted to be around my kid. I wasn't around her. She didn't know who I was. Both grandparents had her. So I wanted a better life. I wanted to become a productive member of this society.
what we know this society to be. I see Simset has said some pretty good things. Simset is in Australia, and one of the things I saw a moment ago, um, here in Australia, anyone rich or poor can have free access to drug mental health care, and we poor compared to USA, and that's one of the problems I find that we have here, um, in the states is, everybody tell us about issues and, perhaps how we can resolve issues, but it all comes down to one thing, and that's something that none of us really possess much of, and that's money. And for
Mhm.
us, if you don't have money, and here in the state of Texas, we don't have a general relief fund. So if you're not a mom, with small children, you don't qualify for Medicaid. If you're not a retiree, you don't qualify for Medicare. And if you don't have a job, then of course you have no insurance at all. Some said also said that 1 in 6 blacks in jail today than at the height of apartheid South Africa. And that's, of course, we heard of the apartheid with, Mandela made that a very famous term that I knew of growing up as a kid. And this is the apartheid without the name. And then, of course, they were trying to abolish the cash bond system. I don't know if that has happened throughout the states. I think each state, does it, according to their, constitution and their legislature. That's just one of the things that let us know that we are actually autonomous one to the other state. But, they tell us we are a united state, but everybody has their own constitution. Therefore, they make up, in some levels, their own rules. And so, um, how do we bridge the gap where we can get the conversation, I guess, going amongst us as families? Because, one thing we know, salute Ernest. One thing we know is that, we're taught that charity begins at home and spreads abroad. Everything we know about charity, it seems to spread abroad, and we never seem to reap the benefits of the charity here for us as a people. So, what are some of the ways that you guys that advocate for people? Um, what do you all do to try to sound the alarm and get the word out? Is it shows like this, or do y'all have other avenues, or just word of mouth by talking one to another? How can we as a people start maybe educating ourselves better?
Okay, I'm going to tell you in our tradition, Cheryl, I'm going to say shows like this and word of mouth, but in our tradition, I am a member of AA and NA, and
Okay,
we cannot use press, radio, or film.
okay,
We can I can give you a number that will direct you to treatment centers. And sure, in here in Dallas, one of them is NIPA, and I would have to give you NIPA's number and tell you exactly what NIPA pays for. NIPA does get you eligible where you can go to treatment for it's a small amount of time. Right now, it's offering 28 days. And
okay,
when I say that's a small amount of time, that's less than a month. Uh, my longest stretch, which is this 20 years, they only paid for 15 days back then. And I tell people in 15 days, you don't even have the smoke off of your breath. Your hands are not even heal from a cigarette lighter.
Mm.
But you go to treatment for that amount of time. They instruct you, or their suggestion is to go do 90 meetings and 90 days. Get you a sponsor. They will pay for intensive outpatient for 6 weeks and supported outpatient for another 6 weeks. And Cheryl, by doing that program, this is how I got 20 years one day at a time.
Okay.
Hmm
So
Uh,
basically, what we have to really come to know, it's kind of like with anything else, and that's one of the reasons why I started my show to um, share my journey with people on, who were we before we were known as slaves. Anything we do is all involving self. And I
hmm
think that's where we as a people miss the mark because we've been taught with such a herd mentality. I call it animal husbandry training, where we follow the leader as opposed to follow yourself because you don't separate self from the crowd. That anything that you do that's going to make life better for you, you
hmm
must participate. You have to show up and you have to do the work. And if you neglect to do that, then you're going to miss out on whatever good thing there is. Um, have you found that to be true
that is
in your
very much
walk and seeing the walk of others?
yes, because Cheryl, this is a disease. Um, and at all times, I can never fail to not know that this is a disease like cancer, diabetes, anything else. I have to always stay connected to where my disease is used and to keep me clean and sober. I
Mm,
still have to go to meetings. I still have to uh, report to a sponsor. I still have to do the steps. And I have to give it away in order to keep it.
mm,
At any time that I get grown and decide that I don't want to do it anymore. And Cheryl, I can tell you, I have relapsed before. I had 9 years before, and I relapsed because I wasn't connected anymore. I got tired of going to meetings. I got tired of calling sponsors. I got tired of going around recovery friends. And I want to say one drug leads to another. And that's one of the things you have to know. So then I wanted to go and take a drink. Then I wanted to go and smoke some weed. And before I knew it, I was right back in the crack house.
mm.
And so I don't have to do any more road testing. Nobody has to tell me anything. I know what I have to do. I would like to be normal like other people, but I'm not normal. I can tell you, last year I was going on a trip to New Orleans, and somebody made mention, oh, the drinks in New Orleans. I'm an alcoholic. I'm an addict. My mind got to clicking, and I said, oh, I can go take a drink, and nobody will know it. Well, sure, everybody knows when I have a drink. I have this little thing. I start talking about people's mom and daddies when I get drunk.
Okay.
And but the first person who's gonna know it is me. So what
Okay.
do I do when the mind gets to clicking and and my body starts feeling away? I call my sponsor right away. I go to a meeting right away, and then my disease is at rest again. And sure, I'm gonna tell you, when I got to New Orleans and got out of the cab, the first thing I see was a Hennessy sign. I said, "Oh, my disease, which is always there, was really trying to work on me." People ask me all the time, "Do you ever have cravings?" Sure, I crave all the time, but I
Okay.
choose to have and to be a productive member of this so-called society.
Okay.
Hmm.
That's really good to know. Pete Gaines said that the drugs are real bad up where he is, and he's in Boston. So we've
Um,
covered really, all over the states.
yeah,
We've gone from the north, to the south, to the west. Um, hey, Real Chase. Uh, Cookie. Hey, Cookie's World. Glad you're here. Carolyn Hayes, so good to see you. Carolyn said, I often say, you are the masterpiece. Your life is art. Create your own path. Shout out to you guests for being so authentic. And that's what it's all about, authenticity. And I think once we really come to understand what that means, and that's just being who you are, you can be nobody else. Cookie has a saying, quit trying to be me, or anybody. We're taken. Be yourself. And if you don't know yourself, then it would be beneficial to start learning, who am I? And one of the ways that I find that works for me is writing. And writing is so liberating. And you don't write for other people. So you don't have to be the best writer. You don't have to be the world's greatest speller. Spell the words the way they sound to you. We all have issues with spelling. That's why they're called spells. But we have dictionaries. And then we have these contraptions here that we use every day. These are actually real high dollar price computers. And we can Google any subject or any word if we don't know the meaning of a word or the spelling of a word. But I find if you find yourself writing to yourself, just to yourself, and just get honest with yourself, because that's going to be key. Is what I found in any walk of life. A lot of people talk about moral compass, but we all have a measuring rod that we measure by, and so that moral compass is what you view as being morality. It is putting us to know right from wrong. So there are just some things innately we know that could be considered wrong or right, but we have to just take responsibility for our thoughts and our actions, and pass on whatever knowledge that we get in hopes that somebody will take it and use it. We can't make them take it and use it. We're not going to beat them upside the head. Uh, you know, we can just only share, and with sharing and caring, and then sometimes just living it out. Someone can see what you're doing and say, hey, wonder if I try that, would that work for me? It may work, it may not. You just have to keep trying to, find your niche, because everybody has, a point where you have to say, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I want something different for myself. Simset said huge parts of the world were are genetically allergic to alcohol. Australian Aboriginals uh, and its Aboriginals, and much of America's millions killed and land leased that way. And that is so very true. Uh, it's systems in place to keep us in our place. And our place is a place that someone else says is our place. But your place is wherever you choose to be. You have to dare to dream, you have to hope, and then you have to know. And I think that's where we miss the mark as people. We never get into the knowing phase of life. We stay in the hope and the dream stage. But life is but a dream. But at some point, you must wake up. And when you're awake, then you must take responsibility for your own actions and hold yourself accountable. Um, Simpson says many e-writers never finish school, and there are no English speaking people with word magic and genius like us, Black Americans, rule English now. I hope I got that right because, child, I'll be sitting up here trying to say shit. I don't know what I'm saying.
And Trill, can I jump in on that?
Yes,
Um,
because we're getting ready to wind down. We're getting
oh,
close to our
5
hour.
minutes. Yeah, yeah.
Uh huh.
I just wanted to say the man sent you the was talking about the disease. That's what we have to understand about this disease. It is a twofold disease. It's a mental obsession along with a physical allergy. My mind always says that I can walk in a bar and just spend $5. But when I
Mm-hmm.
go in that bar and I pay $5 and take a drink, I, the addict, alcoholic, are very allergic to that. It sets off a reaction. So that reaction is if I have $800 in my pocket, I take that $5 hit. I'm gonna spend all 800. Then I'm gonna try to get your money, and I'm gonna try to get some more money to get some more alcohol or drugs. He was right. We are allergic to this. That is a disease of addiction.
Okay. So then, do you have a number, anything that you have that the people can take down if they need to
I sure do.
call
Well, they can.
anybody? If you know of anybody that's suffering from addiction, and we know that no one can make anyone get help. You know, they have to want it for themselves, but sometimes we can just point them in the right direction. So, do you have some information that you'd like to give
uh
before we say goodnight?
Yes, I do. The number is 1-800-662-4357, and that's 1-800-662-HELP 4357. They can lead you in any state, city where there is help in your area.
Fantastic. And so, Dwawn, again, we thank you for coming back to be with us. And like we said, we're going to have this like an ongoing series. So we'll be looking forward to next month. And hopefully we'll have some better statistics. If anybody have any questions or anything, I have them ready for her next month. Or if you want to add to the story, even if you want to be a part of to come up and speak with Dwawn next month, then just let me know in the chat and I'll send you the link so that you can come up and talk. And she's going to invite a couple other people um, from, you know, the same walk of life that she has and to share their story. Uh, Actually, just trying to spread hope to a hopeless people. And we're not all hopeless, but um, we're in a bad way, and oftentimes we don't know how to get out of our own way and how to help each other. We have a desire, maybe, but no direction, no strategy. I always say that the war is not won on the battlefield, it's won in the war room. So we have to start strategizing and finding a better way to be of support one to another. Um, and on that note, Dwawn, do you have anything you need to say before we say goodnight?
I just want everybody to be safe. And if you have someone, everybody has somebody in the family that's a drug addict or alcoholic. And if they're willing and ready to be a productive member of this society, please call and get some help.
Thank you so much. I hope that everyone would hit the like button, if you would, and even share this video. Um, really, a mind is a terrible thing to waste, and a life is even sadder when it's gone too soon. And we always say that we have an appointed time, and I'm sure we do, but what is time? Um, but a cycle of life. So all I ask is that you share. I hit the like button. If you decide you like, you can always hit the Cash App at any given time. If you never hit the Cash App, share the video, leave a comment. That helps. Hit the like button. It helps put us in the algorithms so that other people can see that there is help available and there are people here that care about you and want to see you succeed. On that note, I'm going to say hello, Penny. I seen you come in before I leave. I want to say hello, Pennywise. Thanks everybody for being here. Tomorrow is a special exclusive. Dr. Wee's Love is going to come tomorrow. He was unable to make it last week. Wednesdays work better for him, so we're doing an exclusive. He's a microbiologist, uh, biochemist, and also a bio, I think it's immunologist. So it's going to be very interesting to see a young Asiatic male do his thing and talk about his new adventure. So please join us tomorrow at 7, exclusive Wednesday. On that note, I'm getting ready to leave the Tiger's Den. Goodbye.
This video was made for education and entertainment purposes only. There's no malice or ill intent from the content creator. So please like, share, and subscribe, and have a great evening. Good night.